He was larger than life, the immortal one. With a ripped physique, a booming voice, and the iconic red and yellow, Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler. He was a movement. He slammed giants, he headlined the biggest shows in history, and he carried an entire era of professional wrestling on his back. But every legend's journey comes to an end. And for Hulk Hogan, the final goodbye was more than just a farewell to the ring. It was the closing chapter of an American icon. Music swells, dramatic orchestral tones mixed with nostalgic 80s rock vibes. This is the story of Hulk Hogan's final goodbye. The making of Hulkamania. Michael James Terry Bollea was born on August 11, 1953, in Augusta, Georgia, before moving to Tampa, Florida. Growing up, young Terry was fascinated by sports, music, and superheroes. He played baseball, loved comic books, and dreamed of becoming something greater than himself. But it wasn't until he picked up a guitar that he first tasted stardom. Hogan played bass in local bands, chasing a rock and roll lifestyle. Yet destiny had different plans. When he walked into a wrestling gym in the 1970s, his life changed forever. Under the guidance of Hiro Matsuda, Hogan trained relentlessly. In his very first session, Matsuda broke his leg to test his toughness. Most would have quit. Hogan came back. That determination forged the beginnings of the man who would later call himself the Immortal. By the late 70s, Terry Bollea had transformed into Hulk Hogan. With his 6'7", 300-pound frame, charisma, and undeniable aura, he became a rising star. Fans gravitated toward him instantly. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a superhero, come to life. The birth of Hulkamania. It was 1984, Madison Square Garden. Hulk Hogan stepped into the ring against the Iron Sheik for the WWF Championship. The atmosphere was electric. Fans were on their feet as Hogan lifted Sheik high and delivered the atomic leg drop. 1, 2, 3, history was made. Hulk Hogan was crowned WWF Champion, and with that victory, Hulkamania was born. Train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins. This became Hogan's message to millions of kids worldwide. He wasn't just a wrestler. He was a role model, a hero, and a cultural icon. His 24-inch pythons became the most famous arms in sports entertainment. The red and yellow colors became symbols of hope and strength. And the Hulkamaniacs? They were more than fans. They were a family. From 1984 through the early 90s, Hulk Hogan dominated professional wrestling like no one before him. He headlined WrestleMania after WrestleMania, battled legends like Macho Man, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior, and Andre the Giant. His body slam of Andre at WrestleMania 3, in front of 93,000 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome, became one of the most iconic moments in sports history. The fall and reinvention. But every hero faces challenges. By the early 1990s, Hogan's popularity began to fade. Fans were growing tired of the say your prayers, eat your vitamins routine. The world was changing, and professional wrestling was evolving. In 1993, Hulk Hogan left WWE. Many thought it was the end, but Hogan wasn't finished. 2 years later, he would shock the world again, this time in WCW. At first, he came in as the same red and yellow hero. But by 1996, something had to change. And then, at Bash at the Beach 1996, Hulk Hogan dropped the leg. Not on his opponent, but on his reputation as a hero. He turned heel. He joined Kevin Nash and Scott Hall to form the New World Order. Crowd boos echo in the background sound design. In one night, Hulk Hogan went from the biggest hero in wrestling to the biggest villain. This reinvention saved his career. The NWO became one of the hottest acts in wrestling history, and Hogan, now Hollywood Hogan, was once again at the top of the mountain. The return home and legacy. By 2002, Hogan returned to WWE. Fans weren't sure what to expect. Would they boo the villain or cheer the legend? The answer came at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto when Hulk Hogan faced The Rock. The crowd was deafening. Every punch Hogan threw received thunderous cheers. That night proved that Hulkamania was eternal. Hogan would go on to have sporadic matches in WWE, returning to the red and yellow, reminding fans of why they loved him in the first place. He became a 6-time WWE champion, a 2-time Hall of Famer, and a man whose name was synonymous with professional wrestling. Controversies and struggles. For every legend, there is a shadow, and for Hulk Hogan, the shadows were hard to escape. Behind the fame, the championships, and the red and yellow glory, Hulk Hogan was a man with flaws, human like anyone else. As the years rolled on, his life outside the ring would test him in ways no opponent ever could. By the mid-2000s, Hogan faced a storm of personal struggles. His marriage with Linda Hogan fell apart, leading to a bitter divorce that dominated tabloids. His reality TV show, Hogan Knows Best, once seen as a glimpse into the life of a wrestling icon, became a painful reminder that fame comes with a cost. Then came injuries. Decades of body slams and leg drops left Hogan with a broken body. His knees, back, and hips were in constant pain. Multiple surgeries followed, with Hogan himself once saying, "Still, the toughest battle came in 2015, when private recordings surfaced, sparking a massive scandal. Hogan was fired from WWE, erased from their website, and distanced from the company he helped build. For the first time in decades, Hulk Hogan was no longer part of the wrestling world. Fans wondered, was this the end of Hulk Hogan, redemption, and return? But if Hulk Hogan's career proved anything, it was this: you can never count him out. Over time, Hogan made amends. He issued public apologies, reconnected with fans, and quietly rebuilt his image. By 2018, WWE welcomed him back, not just as a wrestler, but as a legend whose legacy was too big to erase. His return was emotional. When Hogan walked out in front of the WWE crowd again, the reaction was mixed at first. Some cheered, some hesitated, but soon the chant returned. "Hogan! Hogan! Hogan!" For the man who lived off the energy of Hulkamaniacs, it was proof that forgiveness, like Hulkamania, can run wild forever. Hogan's final matches and farewell. The wrestling ring had always been Hogan's home, but by the 2000s, his body could no longer keep up. The leg drops that once shook arenas now left his spine damaged. The matches that once thrilled millions were now impossible. His final WWE appearances weren't as a wrestler, but as a legend, a host, and a symbol of an era gone by. WrestleMania 30 in 2014 saw Hogan host the show, standing side by side with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, 3 generations of icons in one ring. That night wasn't about titles or rivalries. It was about legacy. It was about saying goodbye. And when Hogan looked out at the crowd of 75,000 screaming fans, tears filled his eyes. He knew his in-ring journey was done. Hulk Hogan's final goodbye wasn't a single match. It wasn't one last body slam or one final leg drop. His farewell came in moments, in tributes, in the love of millions who never stopped believing in Hulkamania. The Immortal legacy. Hulk Hogan's career spanned 4 decades. He sold out arenas across the world, starred in movies and TV shows, crossed into mainstream pop culture, and made professional wrestling a global phenomenon. He inspired a generation of wrestlers, from John Cena to The Rock, who cite him as their hero. Without Hogan, there might never have. And if you believe Hulkamania will never die, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic stories of wrestling's greatest legends.